President William Ruto under the UDA party suddenly was in conformity with the demands of IMF is a mirage that we are yet to understand. And today, I want us to look at a warning that has come from the Budget Office, Parliamentary Budget Office, PBO, to President Ruto. And I picked it because here, for those who follow the bold, I have been saying one thing, that while we want to fix the economy, it's a long-term goal, but we needed to have at least contingency plans so that we don't hurt the economy. That warning is coming to President Ruto. And in this video, I will try to interpret that. Now, look at, this is Sunday Nation, the last page of it. I hope you can see it well. Yes, the last page. The House budget team wants Ruto IMF reforms will hurt the economy. Let me tell you, this Parliamentary Budget Office, PBO, is the office that works closely with the head of Budget Committee in the National Assembly, now Ndindi Nyoro. And they're telling Ndindi Nyoro to tell the president on the danger ahead. Now, there is something that even if you check William Ruto's Twitter now, he's saying, I think the economists are telling him that we do fiscal consolidation plans so that we can fund our debts, or rather our budget deficit, from the own resource. That is, in short, that is the taxation. And IMF gave us 292 billion loan. That is a facility that runs for 38 months. It started way during Uhuru Kenyatta's reign. But when President Ruto was coming to power, he marshaled, or rather he engineered, a political messaging against Uhuru Kenyatta's reign, attacking mostly these subsidies. And they want to understand by then, he wanted to portray, or rather to project, Uhuru Kenyatta government as a failed government, and attacked everything and anything that Uhuru was doing, including the subsidies. And maybe IMF knew he fell into their trap. And before he knew, he came to Parliament. They met President. They had a raft of demands. These are the demands: reduce non-priority spending, cut subsidies on fuel, food, electricity, reduce tax incentives so that you maximize your tasks, raise tax collection, then privatize state-owned enterprises. That's the privatization story that is going on. Then cut bailouts to KQ. So when you patia loan, wanakambia what to do. So their work, I think, is advisory. I don't think they are telling you force, they must do it by force, because President Uhuru Kenyatta knew that we were just coming from COVID. And what he did, he defied some of those calls. Not that these calls are new, but Ruto was pro them. Now the Parliamentary Budget Office is saying that, look here, we are doing badly. This is not the time, because what that means here is, part of what they're saying is, reduce government spending. Now this is going to shrink finances in the system, and the struggling economy, we are not going to have a good output. That's why we normally talk about the job cuts. And even total economic collapse, it's possible. Now strike a balance. So the Budget Office is telling President, this is from IMF, strike a balance between the fiscal consolidation to avoid economic collapse. That's what I've been saying. Me, I've been saying balance between this fiscal consolidation is an intervention in the economic recovery playbook, workbook. But me, I've been saying as you employ that, which is quite in order, you also have to be sensitive of the fact that things are not good. Okay, we are not doing good. That's the point. In September, he was supposed to cut, in the first supplementary budget in September, he announced 300,000 billion to cut. A plan to cut using those austerity measures and all those measures they put in place. Now, as we talk now, the first supplementary budget, out of the 300 billion that we were targeting, we've only reduced it by 13.3 billion. That is the truth. That is where we are. So I've always said that when UDA came into power, there was a lot of elite economics. How we're going to fix it. But the biggest blunder that William Ruto did, which I may be wrong, it may not be a blunder, it may also be deliberate, that these guys were in conformity with his policies and they supported him. But would be that we went to bed with the IMF because we lost our identity. We lost what we were supposed to do. We actually lost it. Despite, they're saying we are going to, when we have this fiscal consolidation, ni kizungu kubwa tu. Yani, wakati ambapo sasa tumepunguza zile fedha ambazo tunaeka katika kuleta subsidies na vile vitu zingine, tutabaki na pesa nyingi. Sasa tukibaki na pesa nyingi, tutaweza kulipa madeni rahisi. Now, IMF is interested on how we are going to repay the loan. Kila mtu ana push interest rate yake. But they're not, because they're also kind of in some business. They're not interested whether that strategy of us paying them the loan, their way, or the things they're putting to us for us to repay the loan, zita affect mwananchi wa kawaida. And that's technically why we insist that the hustler agenda fell off the table. It fell off the table. It's no longer in the table. I said some people were saying it was ridiculous, but I said the only hustler thing that remains is that hustler fund. So the other things, now ukiona sahi kuna tenda ya polisi imepeanwa, then you wonder, someone was asking, Kevin, is it a priority? Is it a priority? Should we remunerate the police or get them new uniforms? But then those are tenders that people also benefit. Now, the output shall, and the budget office is telling the president that instead of privatizing all these parastatals, then audit ni gani inaweza leta profit so that you support those ones to bring profit instead of just selling one off. Unless when we sell, we should sell and open another business or a capital intensive revenue generating enterprise. For example, ukiuza ng'ombe, ufai kuuza ng'ombe leo hiyo pesa unatumia tu hivi. They are telling the president that ukiuza ng'ombe, if you sell KPA, then that money should be put into another capital generating income so that it doesn't end there. Or we don't sell now, we will only sell when urgently we are in a crisis. But then, when we go the IMF way, we've been saying in a hole, we continue digging the hole downwards. But the good thing here is, we are looking at the messaging. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. I want to say thank you for those who support us from different parts of the globe. There are 4 interpretations of this here from IMF. Number 1, the political slander on subsidies will haunt you, dear. I've always insisted this way, that I don't know, I'm not a political communication expert in working with these politicians, but sometimes we don't get it right. ukishapata ushindi, you know the reality, you know very well that while ile subsidy on maize or on unga, maybe it did not go successful because some cartels were in upper katikati, but would you ask yourself, the subsidies on fuel, did they help? The other subsidies, are they helping? Then you say, okay, fine. If they're helping, after winning on the subsidy slander, you tone down on it when you get power. Then you change. Say, okay, as much as kwa nasema hili vitu bali kinajua hizi vitu ni mzuri. So you tone down. Now, you're being told you have to work with these subsidies because otherwise economy itaharibika. Things are going to be bad. So how are you going to come back to the population and explain? If you want to know subsidies are bad, how about that of fertilizer? The budget office is actually suggesting, I was looking at it, in agriculture, the office wants President Ruto to allocate 15 billion for expansion of fertilizer subsidy program, 1.5 billion subsidy program, extension of services, and 7.2 billion as credit to farmers through cooperatives. That's it. So not that we cannot demonize all the subsidies, but we demonize subsidies, and before we knew, just few months in office, the reality is catching up with us. So Ruto will be forced to make a U-turn on this issue. The other thing is this. Could this be the reason why we are stuck blaming Uhuru Kenyatta blindly? Actually, the blame game of Uhuru Kenyatta, we've been telling the population, and I've been insisting here that sorry, that blame game is normally strategic, was just strategic to keep the population afloat. You know very well that because of political activism and some anger, we mutilated Uhuru. We want to mutilate Uhuru tenure. But in real sense, the decisions we're making now is what is affecting us. Yes. If the subsidy in unga did not work, the one in fertilizer is working, then why don't we just remove the cartels so that it works? Yes, that's the point. I've always said yes. Not that it cannot work, it can work, but it is being eaten by cartels. Then why don't you remove the cartels and just use it well, we see if it can't work. Yes, it's simple. All these subsidies, if they didn't work, toa cartels, then we work at when kama itafanya. It will work. So the blame game on Uhuru Kenyatta is a ploy on this. I also see the sudden change on Ruto being in conformity with these guys who are worrying. And we may have to regret that at the appropriate time. Let's consider not selling on, and before things go, Ndindi Nyoro will be back to campaign trail to explain some things, because the population will be hostile, trying to pick up what this is all about. Thank you, guys.